Next, we're going to talk about certification periods. So you will see these written as cert periods. They also may be seen as episode or episode lengths. And so this is a really important thing for us to be aware of. This really relates more to billing from the home health agency side, but the way we structure our frequencies depends on this cert period. So what it is it's a 60-day period that these home health agencies can bill on. And so day one is the start of care date, which is the date that we've already talked about, the date that the nurse comes out to do the initial admission. So that's day one, and the certification period runs 60 days after that day. So how that relates to us is we can only set frequencies within that 60-day period. So we'll just say 60 days is 8 weeks. So if you see the patient for initial evaluation on the same day that the nurse does the initial admission, the longest you could set the frequency for is 8 weeks. So you would say, okay, I want to see this guy 2 times a week for 8 weeks, so 2W8. If you're like, well, this patient needs to be seen 12 weeks, you can't do a 2W12, but what you could do is you could write a 2W8 frequency. When it gets to the end of the 8 weeks, what you do is you then write another 2W4 frequency to get the full 12 weeks. So again, once you do that, you obviously have to notify our office to let them know. But what happens on that 8th week is the nurse comes out there and does a recertification. And that recertification opens up another 60-day period. So really important to be aware of what the start of care date and where we're at in the cert period is before you set a frequency. And so that should be on the referral. And if you don't know that, contact our office, contact the agency. They can get that date for you because you really will not know how to correct or what length of time you have to set a frequency if you don't have that date. Another example is, let's say a patient gets set up with home health, but they don't have therapy in the home. Nurse comes out, does the admission. It's a nursing only patient. Well, 4 weeks in, the patient has a change in status. Patient falls or whatnot, and the doctor orders PT. So we would then get the patient on week 4 of the cert period. So the longest that we could set the frequency would be for the last 4 weeks. So like a 2W4 or 3W4 frequency. To know that, what you have to do when you receive the referral, you should look at the referral and say, okay, the start of care was 4 weeks prior, so I can only set my frequency for 4 weeks. Again, if you saw that patient on week 4, you wanted to see them for 8 weeks total, that can be done as a 2W4. At the end of the 4th week, you do an end of frequency re-eval, like we've already talked about, and set it for another 2W4. Whenever you're at a frequency, make sure it falls within that cert period. Our office should catch that, so they should kick it back to you and say, hey, you've got to shorten this frequency if you've written it for too long. But it's something that you want to be sure to be aware of as well.